speak to
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, like, probably like, better than the Google, like, I was just trying to say, if you, is there any website that I can search on or something like that, or like look into?
I would see to what extent NASA white papers are publicly available, or proposals actually.
Okay.
The problem is I don't know if those are publicly available, because what you get with those is when NASA puts out a request for proposal and they say, oh, we want the next generation spacesuit, or we want a spacesuit that's better at this or at that, then various companies will respond to that request for proposal with their proposal. That tends to go into a fair amount of detail of, hey, this is why you should pick us over the competition. So it'll go into a lot of detail of why and how their stuff is better. Problem is, I don't remember anymore how publicly available that stuff is, and it would probably, I would honestly have to start Googling just like you to see whether or not that's available.
That's fine. I mean, it seems like, the way expert search is different from a layman search, so that's why I was asking that question to you.
So, just from looking at it, I would say that the biggest standout here is the helmet.
Okay.
That is by far the most updated thing about this.
Sure.
It looks like they still have wrist disconnects. The second thing that immediately leaps out about this suit is look at where if you look at where the zipper is in the midsection.
Yeah.
It's a spiral. It's a spiral entry.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like if you have a batch of pre-made biscuits, and the way you take off that, and if they ever explode, it kind of unspirals itself. That is how that zipper works.
Oh, okay.
And one of the challenges with zipper placement is you want to make sure it's not ever poking you in the back as you lie in your seat. You want to make sure you want to try and make sure that's something you can do yourself, which it looks like this one is. So it looks like they've got some pretty decent implementation on this. Sorry, I'm just looking at a picture here. I don't know how they're doing their shoes.
Shoes are, according to their website, it says they're specially designed with the help of Reebok.
Lightweight.
Yeah. So what they might be doing there, and I don't actually know if they are doing this, but one of the things that you can do, one of the things that other spacesuits in the past have done is, remember when I was mentioning that fundamentally the materials that are good at holding in air are not good at holding shape, and vice versa. Shoes are actually really good at holding shape. So if you take a sort of, naked, so to speak, pressure layer and put it in a shoe and then inflate it, it's just going to take the form of the shoe, and the shoe's pretty good at that. So for all I know, they put that element of the spacesuit on after they put on the sort of long underwear enclosed bladder layer.
Okay.
But I don't actually know if that's what they're doing here. That's just kind of what it looks like, and I know that works.
We have another question.
Sure.
Do you know the weight of each layer? Part of the spacesuit?
We've been trying to find that out and have been not successful in finding out the weight of the layers.
Right. That's a tough one. So, do you know the weight of the overall spacesuits?
About 200
Louder.
210 pounds.
Louder.
About 210. 210 pounds.
So, the vast majority of the weight of any spacesuit is going to be the hard components on it. So, in fact, sometimes they will quote spacesuit weights with the helmet not included, because that's the big hard chunk, and that's by far the heaviest chunk. Heavy components other than a helmet that exist on a spacesuit are going to be the bearings next, B-E-A-R-I-N-G. The side bearings, S-C-Y-E, is that just refers to your armhole, basically. The armhole bearings and the wrist bearings tend to be the next heaviest things. Then shoes or boots, sort of depending on what you're doing there. You know what I would recommend doing if you're trying to figure that out? Because I can sort of qualitatively say, oh, well, the soft layers are not going to weigh that much percentage-wise. I would honestly calculate it by looking at the weight of the raw material from a supplier's website and then looking at the yardage you think would be involved. Calculate out how much surface area or area it would take to make a pair of footy pajamas, and then multiply that by, or something approximately human shaped, and then multiply that by the weight of the raw material.
Okay, I think that does need deep research and calculation, but that's a good exercise to for the kids to go deeper into the spacesuit research.
The fast answer is a few pounds. It probably weighs a few pounds.
Anything else? Go ahead, Vishwa.
How dangerous are galactic cosmic rays?
Not as dangerous as solar storms.
Okay.
And unless you have a huge influx of galactic cosmic rays from like a far away event, like you can, just as you can have solar storms from our sun, you can have basically solar storms from another sun that will also cause problems above and beyond what you would normally get from galactic cosmic rays. But there is a very famous Mars mission researcher called Robert Zubrin, who once calculated that assuming you're not experiencing a solar storm or any other unusual adverse event, it is less hazardous to your health to experience the radiation environment on the way to Mars than it is to smoke a pack of cigarettes a day. Now, obviously, you shouldn't smoke a pack of cigarettes a day either, but a mission to Mars is what, like, on average 6 months? You could probably smoke a pack of cigarettes a day for 6 months, and your increase in cancer risk is going to be not that high.
Okay. And is it true that they come from outside of the solar system?
Yeah, by definition, galactic cosmic rays is the radiation that comes from outside. Otherwise, it would be called solar radiation from our own sun.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Where do gamma rays come from?
I don't know, actually. I want to say quasars, but I think you're going to have to look that up. I'm not sure.
Anything you'd like to, inform us or advice for the team? I know we have 2 more weeks for our competition, and we kind of have done our research and solution. Not that we're going to change much to it, but anything that do or don'ts we have blunders in or anything like that?
No, actually, I think you guys, given that you're, what, 7th graders, 6th graders?
Yep,
6th
grader.
We have all middle schoolers.
This was an excellent project. You did a large amount of research, and I think that the questions that you are thinking about and the problems that you are addressing are things that, frankly, adults in the field are thinking about and addressing. I think that this is a very high quality project, and I don't know what your competition is like, but I thought that this was very well put together and that you are looking at a very interesting and good topic, and that your solution of weaving lead tape was very creative. I like that.
Thank you. I have one more question.
Yes.
This is a question I really looked up and I couldn't find anything on it. So do you know what actual materials in the spacesuit actually block radiation, like gamma radiation?
I don't know about gamma radiation specifically, but I do know that the stuff that they put like for on the Apollo moon missions is again a multi-layer insulation or MLI, and it was almost certainly fairly standard MLI, which probably means it was aluminum, but let me check. Hang on 1 second.
Yeah, Mylar.
Yeah, it's almost certainly Mylar.
Aluminized Mylar, I think.
Yeah, they have 7 layers of the aluminized Mylar.
Yep,
So
it's Mylar.
So it's probably like.
Mylar was aluminized Mylar.
Yeah, Mylar is definitely the standard. Another question is, do they have multiple kinds of Mylar? Well, they probably do have variants of it. Wow, that is surprisingly inexpensive on Amazon. That's interesting.
Okay, I have another question that was asked by another kid here. What causes galactic cosmic rays?
Oh gosh. Well, I am unfortunately neither a particle physicist nor an astronomer. I would have to look it up.
Yeah, no, I think, thank you so much, Molly. I think this was like a fabulous session. We have one request before we let you go. Can we take a picture of you with your Skype video?
Sure, yeah.
Guys, kids, come on to the YouTube. Go. Let's take a picture of all of you as a team.
Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And we'll send you a copy of this picture.
Don't walk our face.
That sounds great, thanks.
Guys, sit down.